Hey folks, as best I can without making this a 20-minute video, I'm going to try and recap the turn for the Soviets. A little bit more involved and complicated than I was hoping it would be. There are a lot of decision points for the Soviets to play and a lot of choices about how they're going to proceed in the game. And that's not readily apparent when you actually set it up, look at it, look at the maps and kind of pontificate about what you may or may not do. Suffice to say, things have not really turned out how the Soviets expected they would turn one. We're 3/4 of the way through the turn, and I'm doing this kind of north to south on the maps, so that this is the GB2 most northern area here. We went through the exercise here of looking at what could we attack in reasonable terms that would provide us with some benefit and try and soak up supply on the Germans in a non-gamey fashion. Okay, so we conducted a little experiment there, attacked at a 4-3 breakdown regiment, had a successful attack. The Germans elected not to use supply because their intention is to ship most of it out of this area and head it south. They did keep enough to pay for defense if they need to. So other than that, that was one little attack, not particularly exciting. The first major decisions that the Soviets had to make, and you're going to have quite a bit of glare here, we're just going to have to deal with it. There's Moscow in the distance, so you know what you're looking at. And in front of us, we've got the Western Front, basically. And from the previous videos, you've seen the advances that the Germans have made. So we've got 6th Panzer here and 1st and 14th motorized there. What the Soviets elected to do, because there didn't appear to be any aircraft in range for patrol to protect these, and there were no aircraft put on station to protect them, I guess in some sort of reaction mode or whatever, there's no ability for the Germans to react. So the Soviets attacked here with their aircraft and had some good rolls and put 2 divisions into disorganized mode. And I'm just thinking, did I add the columns for the number of regimental equivalents there? And I think I did. So that's all good. Okay. So now that was the only really offensive thing that happened in this area. These guys all pulled, the Soviets here at the very front line all pulled back a little, and we're trying to deal with this incursion here and build just a holding line here so that there's no rushing through the line and heading to Vyazma and having a quick win or a quick isolation. So I built this line, then conducted these attacks. So that's obviously there's not going to be any penetration here this coming turn. So that's good. So the north is kind of stabilized, and I pushed a lot of supply up into this area. Some more supply into here, more into Kalinin over on the left-hand side there, with the view that we're going to start building hedgehogs. And then certainly down we'll skip past this out of supply stuff for a second. In the Bryansk area, we pushed supply down past this rail here. The rail line is still open because these guys are in move mode and have no zone of control. So we might as well get supply into there while we can and make that pocket last as long as it can, because it will more than likely become isolated next turn. Now, back to this mess here. I'm not sure what to say about it other than it's painful. Based on the assessment and spending about 45 minutes on looking at where I can and can't get HQs to try and get people back into supply, into trace supply here. These guys are out of trace no matter what. Headquarters can only count back 5 truck movement points to a road, track, or rail. That then leads to a supply source. So there's these two HQs here. They clearly have not enough movement points to reach back. They certainly can throw forward to most of these guys if they need to, and they would need to. I also could not move headquarters far enough to get them close enough to put these guys back into supply. I looked on that side as well. So these guys are all definitely out of supply. So I have to roll for attrition for all the units that have a supply dump, out of supply marker on them. I used the SP from here, which will be all of these, to keep this HQ and this stack and this unit here in supply. Everyone else will be rolling for attrition. And maybe we'll do that now, I'm not sure. Well, let's just finish up the chat and we'll come back, and if the video's not too long, then we're already at 6 minutes. So anyway, we won't even worry about that. So we're going to roll for that later. Showed you the Bryant's Pocket. Further down here, I moved some units to, what is this town? Kursk. And fixed up, let's knock these guys out of their location. Let me just put them back real quick. To try and slow down 4th Panzer. So we did that. Didn't push a lot of supply down this way. I did put a couple of speed bumps just past Orel, just in case the Germans try and go for broke and rush to Tours. We're building a slow, thin, scraggly line here, although I really don't expect the Germans to try and press too hard here, because it's very hard for them to get into supply, trace supply there. Down here is just a right royal cluster, and I've had a couple of goes around at this. Let me just get rid of that light. Golly. We made some, everything went fine here in terms of movement and execution of against the rules and things like that. We reinforced Kharkov here and built up some hedgehogs. We had some, I guess, second thoughts about where we moved units in this for both sides here. So we did a little bit of rejigging, just because I think I made some mistakes that were game changers, and so I wanted to fix that. Nevertheless, though, these guys are definitely out of supply, and we'll need to roll. We've eaten all the supply we can. We tried to make, we looked at trying to make attacks out of here, and I think it's just expensive. I'm not sure that I can do it. It would need to be these two guys, and they would need to go low ammo to do that, because I have no supply that I can reach. Similarly down here, scraggly movement, nothing terribly exciting happening. And the same down at the Sevastopol region. Now, Sevastopol area, we did move some supply in, and I moved a couple of units in via shipping, or one unit in via shipping, I think. We did all of the all these guys that are way down there. We've started moving them up to where I want them to be for future turns. In the Rostov area, we built a couple of hedgehogs. And so that then brings me to the point of all these decision points that you have, or the discussion about the decision points that you have. Really, you can try and, from my perspective anyway, try and push supply forward so that you keep as many units as possible alive as long as possible. And, you know, that takes a lot of time and effort, and probably for a marginal return on that effort. In certain locations, other locations it's worthwhile. So like Bryansk, I think it's worthwhile pushing supply in there to keep that pocket alive as long as possible. Lots of units are available there, and there are also, it's also a major bugbear for the Germans because it's fairly close to their supply network, and any sort of reinforced breakout there could cause problems for them. But down here, down in this area, down in the south, everything's so wide open that I really think we've got time to start building some, and that reminds me, we've got to bring the workers on, I think, to build some defenses in areas that are further back from the Germans, so that so we have a better chance of holding something like Rostov and potentially Kharkov longer than what I might have thought. So that's what the big decision point that I realize that we have here at the very, very early part of the game. I'm sure there will be other significant points to ponder as we go. But anyway, there we go. So that's my 11-minute ramble about the first turn. This is going to be painful. We'll talk to you soon.